Does this song sound familiar to you?
Or maybe this one. Our next guest has not only recorded for these artists, but he is also a renowned songwriter, producer, and integral member of the group Child.
You won't want to miss this. Welcome to Basebin TV. Here we are. Welcome back to Basebin TV. And as promised, our special guest, Pierre-Luc Rioux.
What's up, guys?
The man.
Where am I looking? Over there?
You can look.
Yeah.
You can actually.
you
can look at me.
Okay, good.
But
Just a normal conversation that's being filmed.
Perfect.
but you can look there. You can look there. Like sort of like hot wings. That camera. That camera. That camera. That camera. What's on your mind today? Let me start by saying thank you so much for doing this.
Of course.
You didn't have to, but I really
I kind of did. But it's all good. No.
Is there like blackmail involved, Albert?
No. But Albert,
because I would never forgive him.
No. But Albert has been a friend, and he's given me so much that I mean, I was making a joke, but like I had to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So we do go way back. The humble beginnings of watching you come into the studios rehearsing, and it was for the pure joy, and obviously it was your passion. It wasn't just your hobby. This was something that was obviously in the cards for you. But did you know at that early age when you'd come in to the studios, braces and all, very young age, how old were you, like 16?
15.
15 years old. Did you know this was going to be your path?
Did I always know? Yeah. So look, it's like a two-pronged answer. So first thing is I remember like from being super young, being completely fascinated with music just in general. Not necessarily with guitar. It was more like,
right.
I remember I saw Slash on stage, like running from one, like he used to run and doing arenas and stuff. And I saw that on TV and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. That's what I want to do. And I told my mom, like, what would you think if I would play the Forum or the Bell Center one day? Like back then it was the Forum. And she said, well, being a hockey player is kind of really tough. And I was like, no, I mean, as a musician, and it's like, yeah, it was something that was completely foreign to my family. Like nobody plays music. My dad loves music.
Okay, so there's an interest at least.
Yeah, it's from him. Definitely where like he kind of introduced me to music, but he doesn't play music. But then I also love animals. I really, really I'm passionate with animal psychology and just animals in general. So I actually wanted to become a veterinarian when I was a kid. And that was my dream. But then in high school, there's a teacher in some class, and he said there was this Greek philosopher that was helping people discover their path, but basically said your path should be where you would serve the most. And to me, that it kind of hit me like it was obvious that it was music.
So what was your first instrument, or what was the first thing that you touched or picked up?
First thing that I touched was guitar.
Okay.
But I always wanted to be a drummer, and I was always passionate with drumming. And then my first band, I was a drummer. Whatever. I had more skill playing guitar.
So now moving from when you said you didn't want to be a veterinarian, or you knew exactly where your purpose was, had you already been playing guitar for a long time before you decided to do that switch?
Well, so yes and no. Like I had been playing guitar, but it's funny because like I was a spiritual person and then I wasn't. It's gonna sound super corny, but it's the truth. One day it happened like almost overnight where I'm not. It's not like miracle or anything, but it's just something clicked in my mind where I became like a lot better, a lot faster. So much so that like when I got to study it for real, because that was just like kind of doing it on my own. I didn't know that people actually would learn songs. Like I would only learn like bits of songs,
Sure.
and technique stuff,
The main riff.
and then do my own songs.
Right.
And I knew like there was a bunch of songs like that people wrote, so I figured, I should write my own songs.
And I think we've had this conversation with a few different people where there are some people that have learned by ear. There are some people that have really, really been schooled. And obviously schooling gives you a little bit of an advantage over the next guitar player that just learned by ear. How did it help you in your career as you were starting to like play with different people that you actually knew what a G minor was as opposed to the next guy?
I played gigs with everybody that knew theory, so it didn't give me any advantage. It just brought me to the level.
Same level.
I was actually disadvantaged because they knew more theory and they knew jazz and they knew like a bunch of stuff that I didn't know. So, which I think in a way is, well, no, I don't think that it's good not to know stuff, but I think that it's hard to unlearn things.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
it's like you have to learn super well. That's why I think kids
Really good point.
should learn music.
Well, they say
really
that
early on.
kids learn music like a language. Like the same way, that's why, when kids are young and you're trying to teach them French and English, Spanish, whatever language it is, they said that children's brains interpret music the exact same way, as if it were a language.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I didn't know that.
So at this point,
Live.
are you playing shows at the same time as getting your education?
At that point, I was touring with this guy called Dr. Draw. He's a violinist from Toronto, and we met like pretty early on, and we were like playing gigs all over the place, like Toronto. Like we toured Canada. And we even went to the Middle East. We like a bunch of places, and those were my own parts, and some of them my own songs. Like him and I would co-write and stuff. So. And I was also playing in like clubs, but like house clubs with house DJs, and I was remixing old retro riffs, like so whatever Smoke on the Water or AC/DC or more like whatever Nirvana or whatever on EDM, and so that's what I would do for gigs.
You spent your years as you were basically improving for the most part of your career, and never. And if somebody would tell you, "Hey, man, play me a song,"
I literally
clink, clink,
didn't
clink.
know any songs,
right?
which sounds crazy.
Which sounds crazy because of where you are now, but like you said, it created a niche for you, and this is what your calling was to actually create these moments in time, these snapshots of moments that would last quite a long time.
How did you navigate that path? Did you have a mentor? Did you have someone you looked up to? How did you figure out your producing path?
I don't know. Just at one point there was a friend of mine that came to my place, and he was trying to show me something that like I recorded something, and he pressed on a button, and then an EQ popped up, and then he EQ'd the track. And I was like, what's that? So I didn't know what an EQ was. I didn't know anything. Like so it's like, whatever. I literally don't know how I
It was just haphazard. It was just
it's
like you
like friends of whatever. It's
Yeah. Now you're at the stage where you said you were starting to learn, and it was sort of like you sort of fell upon it where you had to produce. Did you start getting equipped after that and said, I think I need to get equipped?
Okay, so here's a story of getting equipped. Just because that's another one of those things that happened that changed my life. I went into, and I had no money.
Right.
I was completely broke. And my buddy owned a music store, and he said, you need to get a thing together, like buy some speakers. And he was actually, that was like so clutch in my life. And he had a store downtown, and he had an empty room. And so he essentially gifted me an empty room to set up a studio.
Nice.
Do as you will.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was because I was in my parents' basement, But then he goes, okay, you have the room, but you need to fill it up with gear. So come to the store. I'll tell you what to buy it, and then start producing, and you'll thank me in 10 years. And so I did, but I had no money, so I put it on the credit card.
Oh no.
And it was like $5K. But $5K at the point
Back then.
the $5K when you're making zero
Right.
is like, you're jumping kind of blind.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, on my sister's life.
That's serious because we know you love your sister.
Yeah, no, I love my sister dearly. I swear to God, stepped out of the store. Mm-hmm. I got a call. Guy goes, "Hey, what's up? I found you in the union book of musicians."
That never happens.
Yeah. And I'm like, and he goes, "I have a demo that I want to record. Swear to God. It's 10 songs. Are you cool to do them for $500 a song?"
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I didn't know how to
How to
produce or
even
anything, but I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I'm like, how did you find me? And it's like, well, I opened up the book and I just called your name. And he's like, he literally like sort of,
What?
yeah.
This gig then, was this kind of your first step into working within the music industry?
Not within the music industry, but definitely my first professional producing gig.
Okay. So, because
Definitely.
you're saying you're like, I have
getting
no
paid.
money. So,
At zero, yeah.
so then what did you do? Were you just doing gigs like this for money? Did
Well,
you
I
get
mean,
a part-time
when I
job?
say no money, what I mean is very, very little money. Like basically, like I was playing gigs and stuff, but it's like when you're, when you're just out of school, I don't know, 22 years
Sure.
old, I don't know, 21, whatever it is.
Still got support from home.
Yeah, definitely, and still live at home.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
And but it's like I'm doing gigs here and there, but it's like nothing to even think how am I going to repay this like
Right.
$5,000 thing.
Right.
But anyways, I paid it almost like in one go with just this one gig, which was completely came out of nowhere. Super weird gig, by the way. Like the guy was just as weird as how he found me. Like it's like that's not how you normally find someone to
Right.
produce your gig. But he completely like kind of saved me, and I guess I have to be super thankful for him, even though he's a weirdo.
And maybe you thanking your friend that he said in 10 years, you're going to thank me.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I thank him. I definitely did thank him after 10 years.
Okay, good.